heavy fighting is being reported now in the southern city of Mariupol near the Black Sea. Further north in the suburbs of Kyiv, Russian shelling has been relentless. That is where we find Benjamin Hall, who joins us live from the capital city. Benjamin, what are you seeing overnight there? What's the latest?
Well, Gillian, you and I were speaking just a couple of minutes ago, and I said what a calm night it had been so far. Just on cue there, we have the air raid sirens going off over here. What we've been looking at for the last few days is this slow, steady encroachment around the capital, Kyiv, fighting ever closer to the city, and some pretty horrific scenes in some of the villages and outskirts of this city, some of them being flattened completely. And what that means is the civilian toll continues to rise, and it's rising across the country. We've seen the ceasefire and the humanitarian corridors in Mariupol break down, Russians shelling those exit routes. And it does seem that because the Russians have been held back till now, not moving as fast as they would like, that we've seen them pick up attacks, indiscriminate attacks on civilians, on urban centres, on hospitals, schools. All of those have been hit. And of course, because of the modern nature of this war, we get first-hand video of all of it. It's easy to track. And at this point, it does seem as if this conflict is only going in one direction, and that is getting seriously, it's getting worse right now. We've been out and about today. We've been filming a few stories. And in particular, it's the human toll that we have been looking at. 1.5 million people who have fled the country in the last 10 days alone. Families torn apart, leaving everything that they have. And I want to play for you one scene that we saw at the train station earlier.
Packed onto trains, women and children are desperately fleeing for safety, fleeing the bombs and the rockets of Putin's army. Their anger and their fear evident. The trains out of Kiev, they are packed full. You can see the anger in these people's faces. They're leaving everything behind, their families, their loved ones, their jobs and their homes. It's not clear how many more trains there will be leaving from Kyiv, but these are the lucky few, the few who have made it out.
We're just saving our lives, and that's it. That's all we can do here.
What have you left behind?
Our families, everything. Everything is we have 2 bags and that's it.
Do you know where you're going?
Not exactly. We're just going somewhere. I don't know. Maybe no. Maybe we won't go back here again.
Everyone now just trying to get on whichever train they can. There isn't enough room for them all. They just want to flee, and they're taking the only things that they can carry. Desperate families are being torn apart. This man, Vadim, urging his wife not to cry as he sends her and their children to an uncertain future. None of them know where they're going. This young couple, recently married, share a final and tearful embrace, vowing they will meet again, though no idea when. Where recently they had hoped to start a family, now they must split up. And left on the platform, just the men. They will stay to fight for their country.
And Gillian, it's heartbreaking stuff. You see this day in, day out, and the numbers who are coming through Kyiv and trying to escape, they grow every day. It is sometimes very hard to watch, and that is the counter side of all the death that you witness as well every day, is the human toll. Gillian?
Ben, you get a sense of despair from the people who are leaving, not knowing when they'll be able to come back, if they'll be able to come back, and what they potentially could come back to. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and one of the amazing things is that right up until the Russians crossed the border into Ukraine, many people didn't really believe that they were going to do it, that they were going to invade in such a way. And so many people were not prepared. They didn't know where they were going to go or what they would bring with them. And, you know, even now, there are some people who have no clue where they are going to go. It is, as I said, heartbreaking, and it is something that is affecting the surrounding countries. If you have such an exodus of people, that has a real knock-on effect on Poland, on Moldova at the moment, and then further on into Europe. And there's a huge effort underway now to help those refugees who are fleeing. But of course, the main hope is that they will one day be able to come home. But the direction that this conflict is going, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case for a very, very long time. And if they do indeed come back, well, their homes won't be here. Their schools won't be here. Their pets won't be here. This is not going to be over soon. This is going to be a long-haul battle.
It looks like the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, added his voice to the chorus today, saying potentially Putin may very well have committed war crimes here. He cited very credible threats of the Russians targeting civilians as well as using certain weapons, by which we understand he means cluster bombs. Does that surprise you? You think that's where we're heading with this, is prosecuting him?
Absolutely. Well, absolutely, and we've seen the videos of cluster bombs. They're very distinctive. You can tell when they're dropping. The NATO Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, has said that cluster bombs are being used here and that there is evidence of that. The US, the Biden administration, being a little bit more coy, they haven't wanted to say definitively that they are indeed committing war crimes, but yes, that is what's happening. And it is Putin's modus operandi. He's done it time and time again. You think of the barrel bombs in Syria, you think of the complete destruction of Chechnya, the list goes on. So there's no surprise that he is using those tactics. And of course, he's cornered right now. He's not doing as well as he thought he would. That clean initial strike on the capital hasn't happened. And so he's lashing out, and he will do so with everything he's got. And that's what we think we are seeing right now.
Benjamin Hall live in Kyiv just after 8 p.m. local time. Ben, we'll be back to you early and often throughout the show. Thank you for your reporting.